Vice President Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris taking each other on in the first and only vice presidential debate. Joining us live this morning to discuss last night's debate is Wright State University professor Dr. Lee Hanna. We just heard from both candidates there, and it was a little more tame of a debate than we saw with the first presidential debate. So I just want to ask you real quick, do you think that this debate moved the needle in favor of either candidate?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think we might have to wait on some more polling, but what I generally saw in my, kind of anecdotal experience was that Republicans liked what they saw from Mike Pence and Democrats liked what they saw from Kamala Harris. I think both candidates were much more civil. It was a much easier debate to follow, and it was very interesting at points. They also dodged a lot of important questions, and I think that is a point of frustration this morning that I think both campaigns may seize upon their other candidates' failures in that area.
Now, by and large, vice presidential debates are largely inconsequential to the overall results of the election. So I want to move on now to the breaking news happening today, which is the next presidential debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden is actually going to be virtual, which they just announced minutes ago. So what does that mean for this race? I mean, how are they going to go about doing a virtual debate, and what will it look like?
Yes, well, I think it is a good call, and I'm glad they made it earlier than later, because it was becoming a sticking point between the campaigns, and I'm just glad that they kind of took it off the agenda in some ways. But it does perhaps give the moderator more control. This was also intended to be a town hall event, so I'm not sure if they're still going to bring in regular people to ask questions via feeds. So it will really change the tenor of the evening. It also may affect the campaigns where normally when they travel to these events, they set up some events both beforehand and after, some in-person rallies. And so it might shake up where they spend their time and what they do in the next couple of weeks as well.
You know, seeing that it's going to be a virtual event, probably via a format like Zoom, very possibly. I mean, this really puts the focus on the coronavirus pandemic, especially the fact that the president's been sick. How will the president defend his record on the coronavirus and the most recent developments that we've seen?
Yes, well, I think Pence tried to do that last night. I don't know if he was very successful, if his answers were that satisfying, but certainly I think that was probably one of the low points for this campaign, just because of how bad it's been, and some of the answers have been lacking. So I imagine that they're working on a message and hoping that President Trump can put that towards the American people in a way that changes the way we're thinking about the coronavirus. But right now, it's one of the most important issues, and voters are dissatisfied with how the incumbent party has handled it so far.
Now, again, just moments ago, we learned that the next presidential debate is going to be virtual. I just told you, Dr. Hanna, about minutes before we went on the air. Thank you so much for being flexible with us this morning and helping us break it all down. Certainly will be interesting to see moving forward.
Absolutely. Thanks, Nathan.